Today I'm going to teach you, or convince you, why I am a slave, and why I think all of us are slaves. If you feel like anything I'm about to say resonates with you or makes any sense, I am sorry, because there is nothing we can really feasibly do about it, and remember, no matter how smart or logical you are, there's an equally slimy and conniving piece of shit out there who would use their intelligence to exploit you or millions of other people. The people who create the systems that we are enslaved by are driven by the fear of death. Think for a second. If you only got one chance to live the most lavishly and comfortably you possibly could, then you wouldn't care if you had to hurt others to get it, and especially if you could get away with it multiple times. But anyways, I am a slave to things much bigger than me. I am at the will and mercy of opportunists that seek to exploit my human nature. I am here in the public eye to sprawl myself out and admit defeat and humiliation that I am in fact a slave. I feel that things that are outside of your control as an average citizen or human being makes you a slave. They influence you on a day-to-day basis. Like the average person who lives a normal life, going to school, having children, buying things, having a little social life, all of this feels pretty normal, but even though you can feel free in your day-to-day decisions and choices, how really free are you? Who decided to make up this life for you? Do you ever sit there and question how many of the things that you have gone through to achieve this normalcy is of your own freedom? So much of our daily lives is just predetermined, and we sort of just accept it as that. Wanting to buy things for Christmas and holidays, eating food we didn't even cook or make, buying cars we can't even drive off roads or pass the speed limit, enrolling in schools that give out information that costs way too much for what it gives you in return. All of this is just sort of normal and optimal, but who is this really optimal for? What does a life like this set you up for? This idealistic way of living life is meant to keep us in a box, and it feels predatory. It just exists to keep us in a cycle of making children, making them work, and making them consume the same things that we've done all of our lives. It keeps us going through the motions, and the cheese in the trap is killing me, but I don't want to go hungry in the rat race. I am a slave to the money. I can feel the pressure to earn and spend. I feel so wrong and dirty whenever I go somewhere and see how leaving tips for, stuff in diners and, giving out money and things like that, or how someone just gets rich out of nowhere and how drastically it changes their personality. I feel like that bothers me a lot, okay? It makes me feel like shit. To the point where I'll just sit in my bed for days and be like, I don't even want to do this. I don't even want to participate in this. And I begin to think some really bad things. I'm being 100% honest here. I start thinking things like, what will happen to me if I just decide to say, fuck all of you? What happens if I decide to just say no? I'm saying this because I don't want to feel bad for existing. I don't want to feel bad for playing this game with all of you that I don't want to play. I don't want to feel bad for checking out fully. I just want to give up. I know I'm not alone when I say that I feel like we learn about 70 to 90% of the things in our lives just so that we can be competent enough to participate in society to make money. And if it's not that, 70 to 90% of the things that we learn in our lives is just stuff to keep us from basically kind of ending our own lives in protest of not wanting to be enslaved to modern society. We're slowly hurting ourselves in doing it anyway with the food that we eat and the lives that we live. Billion-dollar corporations are polluting our water supplies and bombing emaciated children in countries that we've never been to or can't even afford to go to. And politicians are eating dinner with someone right now who would kill thousands for a second life. None of the people who are in power or who laid out this rubric for human lives actually gives a fuck about you or any of us. They just care if their experience is nothing like yours, and not only that, 10 times better than yours. So what the fuck can we do then? Well, in my opinion, nobody gets to win if you aren't being exploited. No more subscriptions, no more letters in the mail begging you for your information, no more calls from numbers that wouldn't give a damn if you were alive or not. All they want to do is suck your money and willpower right out of you and your bank account. But the reality of it is, anybody, including me, is capable of logically seeing the world this way. We are all capable of seeing how fucked up and unfair all of this shit is. I can only sit in an empty parking lot for so long before some public enforcer comes and knocks on my window. I need gas to drive my car to get away from everyone. I need money to pay for my stupid editing software to even complain about this shit. In my own life, I have no choice but to be a slave to the grind and participating in a society that even hates me for my skin color or sexuality, but all I am to a capitalist is a dollar sign. I want to be separate from all of these things that were designed to make me go crazy. Like, half of the inspiration or pressure I feel like to make or produce anything is just because one day my family who takes care of me will die. I hate capitalism, my way into an apartment that I can rot in for 30 years till I die or get cancer. It's all so scary. So, don't do what I'm doing. Pay for college. Pay for books that you'll only read 40% of. Pay for gas to drive to work. Pay for food so you don't go hungry. Pay for a gym membership so you don't have to go to the doctor often. And pay for an insurance company so that when you inevitably do get sick or injured, you can actually afford medication and treatment. Shouldn't we have reached a point of equilibrium by now? When will humanity stop being so obsessed with cannibalizing itself and the planet? We force each other into this suffering just because of ego and greed. We want to have more than each other. Life has become ultra competitive. Being more financially sound than others boosts the testosterone and spikes the estrogen. Earning all this stuff makes you feel better than other people, and people love to gloat and brag about how smart they feel participating in a ritual that's been going on for years and years and hasn't made the least fortunate people's lives on Earth any better. These billion and million dollar galas and award ceremonies haven't made the worst person's life on Earth any fucking better. We are still feeding off the hypersexuality of exploitation of ourselves. Do we have no shame in knowing that whenever we have sex and have kids, they will have to face the same emotional trauma of ranked poverty? Why would I ever have a kid that would be a slave like me, giving birth to a human being for them just to experience things like taxes, insurance companies, mortgages, prejudice, pollution, disease, and the overall disgust of humanity? Life itself seems like a scam. Maybe I'm just thinking too hard about it, but I know that I am a slave because things like the time I go to bed is determined by everyone else getting up to go work another day at a dead-end job. The world won't function without the denizens of the earth crawling out of their layers to fill the morning air with smog to go transfer imaginary money values between companies that produce things that make us depressed and feel unfulfilled. While the CEOs of said companies woke up at 3 p.m. hungover and snorted cocaine off of a prostitute's chest. Or we can have a more tame depiction of a CEO being a modern-day collegiate genius, a preppy nitwit who just asks an AI how he can maximize profits and fund another couple of plastic surgeries that won't go reported on the company's spending records. Just more budget cuts and layoffs for warehouse workers. People walk past homeless people all the time in the street and nobody is going to care who you are. So go ahead, fire half the staff. In situations like these, it makes those who are left behind to work at those places more thankful towards their masters. I can hear them in my ears now. I'm so glad that at least I still have my job. I don't know what I would do if that were me. Like, would you not, would you not feel like a rat in a glass cage watching other rodents get hoisted out to just end up sliding down the gullet of a predator? That's what most of our overseers are. Predators, pedophiles, blood-sucking, soulless weirdos who will stop at nothing to condition all of us into thinking that this is normal. But I think that we are way past that point of being able to defend ourselves. I feel like even if I were to sink my teeth into their skin, it would do nothing but make my own gums bleed. Our pathetic non-violent protest, how easily we are dissuaded from a perspective like mine with the taste of riches. The sheer hopelessness that you experience when you come to the realization that half of the things that an average person goes through and we experience we have little to no control over. It makes you want to curl up and die now, doesn't it? I am a slave, and I'm telling you that I am. We all are. Even if we were to stand up and to do something and spread what I'm saying, my beliefs, my point of view, everything that I'm talking about right now, people at the top who run everything would notice it, and then they would try to silence it immediately. What makes anyone think that the most powerful people in the world would ever let people that they control have a chance at ever winning. It's little to none. The only thing that they can hope that we do is don't have hope itself, or in extreme fantastical cases, hope we don't rise up and kill them. For what they are doing to us, they are raping our children before they're even fucking born. They're stealing the light out of our lives. I feel like that is why it feels so good to watch celebrities and athletes talk about their journey to fame. They're all really lucky. They all worked really hard their whole lives to do something that would guarantee they wouldn't be a slave. They can go anywhere they want, wherever they want, say what they want, and do what they want. And all they have to do is never offend the person who writes their checks. They can break laws, kill and murder, but still walk longer than anyone else. You can have a heart of gold and still not shine more than shit. Because the crushing reality of life is a super evil League of Doom actually does run the fucking world. And I'm a slave, bruh. I am so afraid. These people feed off our addiction. They know our human nature can't stop us from feeling envy. We want to have control like that. The type of power that really does mean nothing if everyone has something. If everyone had the same opportunity, all of the bad children that like to steal and hoard toys would cry until all of our ears would bleed. To these people, suffering is absolutely necessary for life to have any fucking value. I think that that's stupid. How long will humanity have to be around before we all grow the fuck up? How long will death and suffering have to be mandatory to achieve glory? Would I still be a fucking slave to all these people if some aliens came to Earth and started murdering literally all of us indiscriminately? It's a shame something like that would even have to cross my mind. Imagine that a magical space people would travel to our pathetic rock with resources that might not even be useful to them, would have to be threatening to wipe us off the face of Earth for all of us to be considered equal. Then again, nothing would stop countries from coming in and having one last hurrah at humanity's pastime, war. To feel the rush of going out with a bang. One last fuck you. One last, I don't fucking care if we're all dying. I'm gonna be happy. Fuck all of you. Nobody cares. And I think too many people don't fucking care. Seriously, don't you think it's scary that the world could be ending and some loser would be sitting in his penthouse with a team of college students and unpaid interns to design a canister to sell people oxygen? I feel like that future isn't very far from now. The modern day slaves going to school are still going to be dumb enough to participate in businesses that harm and kill millions of people. Whatever gets me my McDonald's DoorDash to my apartment for life, who gives a fuck? Do you think that, after letting it all go, I really am a slave to my own being? But at the same time, they make it all feel so wrong for wanting to proactively do something about all of this. Life can sometimes feel like crap when all the directions lead to dead ends. Maybe I'm missing the point. But there is one thing that I am really sure of, and that is that we are all slaves. I don't know, tell me how you feel. Do you feel I'm just being a big, fat baby pessimist? Am I just, being a real big fat chud Debbie Downer and stating the obvious that, like, everyone fucking knows? That's one thing that I was thinking. Let me know, bruh. Let me know who really does know.